Okay. I should be live streaming right now. Set a place for my drink. Okay. Well, it looks like we're live. I started about 10 minutes early. Wanted to get all the gremlins out of the system, all the audio issues, all the things like that. Looks like I am... Okay. Yeah, I wanted to get all the audio out, all the problems with the last few times. So I'm going to start 10 minutes early. We'll still launch it, 12. So yeah, this is the Wire Wednesday number 4. Go ahead and put something in the chat. Let me know you're here, that you can see, all that good stuff. And I'm going to bring on Steve Zara. All right. I think I keep sending that text to myself, but hopefully everything's gonna go right. So, all right. So yeah, today is Wire Wednesday number 4. I started 10 minutes early for those who are just coming on. I did start early, but I'm trying to work out all the bugs. We'll still launch at 12. Let me see if I can get everything up and going. I'm going to save that quad view. There's a quad view of what I'm working on. This camera right here in the lower left of your screen, I can't get the light on it just right. Seems to be dark. But these other two cameras seem to be fine. This could probably use a little focusing. Again, those are just now joining us. I've started a little early to work out the bugs. Be sure and type something in the chat so I know you're there, which is in the upper left section. Actually, I'm going to try one more split view here. See if I can get it. Ooh, that would actually be a good middle one. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's okay. And save and put to program. Cool. That way y'all aren't bothered with the chat or anything like that. Looks like we got 6 more minutes to go. I think I'm emailing myself. I am emailing. Oh no, I didn't. I got it out there. Hello everyone. Oh, y'all can't see me. Let me see if I can get it in there. There. Hello everyone. It's Cade. Again, I've started the live stream early. Want to work out all the bugs and the gremlins and the demons, whatever you want to call them, that we've been plagued with the last few times. Live video is hard to do. So, hopefully, y'all can hear me okay, and y'all can see me okay. I may try to refresh my chat here to make sure. So, somebody say something in the chat so I know you're there, and you can hear me, and you can see me. If not, then I assume I'm talking to the ether. Alright, I'm still getting set up. Again, today is Wire Wednesday. We are, my special guest is going to be Steve Zara, aka my guinea pig. So hopefully he's getting my link to come join the call before we launch officially. But he said he's very busy today, so I don't blame him. He's busy. I know how that is. He's making fun of me because I only have one thing to do today. if I can get something refreshed here. Working on my YouTube, which is live right now. And stop the echo. And let's pop out the chat. Hey, there's Steve. Hey, it's good quality this time. Oh, you can't. Right. I can't hear you. Hold on, let me put my earphones in. Okay, I got my earphones in.
All right, let me check the delay.
Can you see yourself? You're here.
Yeah, I see myself.
Okay. Yeah, quality's going a little down, but I think it takes a little while, and it will come back. But again, you're in a little corner over there. Okay, cool. As I was explaining to everybody, I started 10 minutes early to try to work out all the demons and the gremlins, and the issues with the live stream. So far so good. I think we're set up. Yeah, today we're doing just a standard wraparound. Headphones.
And I just did something for the first time ever.
Are you talking? I lost you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. For some reason you're only in my left ear, and I didn't have my left ear in. That's okay.
Okay.
It's these headphones. It's not the system. So, as long as I don't move, then we're good.
I'm watching the feed on the other end, on the other camera, my other phone. And sometimes it freezes up, but like I said, we'll figure this out.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to get people to say something in the chat just so I know they're there.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another reason I started early, so we can work on getting people where they can see us and hear us. So far, everything looks good except for you said it's probably hitching on your end. All right, I believe it is 12 o'clock. I got 11:59. If my clock is right. Cool. There is a washing machine going in the background. That's wonderful.
You have a washing machine in the background?
Yeah. So, those that don't know that have been following my story, I built a little lab in my... oh, there's my alarm for 12 o'clock. In my laundry room, because it's a really big laundry room. And so we called it the Laundratory, is our little nickname, my wife and I. So that's a little inside joke we have. But anyway, welcome to Wire Wednesday number 4. Hopefully we've got all the gremlins worked out. Today is just a basic wraparound retainer, so I'm sure there'll be a lot more talking going on this time. So with that being said, I have a special guest, aka my guinea pig, Steve Zara from Zara Dental Lab YouTube channel. He's been helping me out with this live streaming, and so let me bring him. Here he is. Hi, Steve. Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
But
just so everybody knows, I'm actually working while we're doing this broadcast, so we're both working.
Yeah.
In real cases. But you see that I'm looking down all the time. It's not because I'm camera shy, it's because I'm looking down to actually making a retainer. I don't know if you can see this.
That looks a lot better. Yeah, that looks a lot better than that broken one you showed me earlier.
Yeah, well, that's for another day.
Yeah. I have an alarm going off in the background. Let me go turn that off real quick. Where's that at? Okay, I did not mean. It kind of helped out. Let me know that it was. I'm going to top in the chat. Hello. Make sure it pops up. Okay, so today is just a standard wraparound. So like I said, we can talk a lot during this because you know, there's nothing really exciting about it. I like to use 036 wire, and I don't know if anybody else likes that, to use 036 wire or not.
That's exactly what I use.
Okay, alright. I used to use 032, but I used to really adapt it around the teeth, like, big time. Going in and out of the spaces, and it actually proved to be very difficult to bend these things. I don't know where I picked that up at. Cool.
I think a lot of it's just the doctor's preference. I have some
Yeah.
doctors that are like, I want you to touch every single tooth. And then some of them are just like, I want all the spaces to close, so why would you want to touch every single tooth?
That's exactly my point. Yeah.
That's kind of what a wraparound was made for, is to let the teeth drift in that are, you know, you have spaces in between your buys, and you have spaces between your molar and your first buy.
Right.
It's just a nice appliance that cleans everything up.
To let all the teeth settle after.
Yeah, and you see these, well, not you see these. There's a lot of doctors that ask for it to touch every single tooth, and it's kind of defeating the purpose.
Yeah, that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Well, so then I switched to, you know, I worked at another lab, and they used 036 wire. And at first I was like, oh, I don't want a thicker wire. But I actually enjoyed it, because then you can't get in and out of the, you know, touch every tooth as well. And they made it straight across the teeth to allow the teeth to settle and do their thing after the braces release the. And Steve is running a business. Let's not forget that.
I always say if they call back twice, it's important. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have a message system on there?
Yeah, it'll take a message, and I'll answer it in a little bit.
And then if it's just a pickup, you're just like, yeah, I got it.
Right. Or lab slips or something, you know, something. If they call 2 times, then you know it's, or 2 times they need something, 3 times it's very important.
Yeah.
Like, we got a kid in a chair, we need something now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is it? You know, you ever have those nightmares where you wake up and you're like, oh crap, I didn't deliver it. Oh wait, no, yeah I did, I delivered it.
Yeah, I have a doctor with a 7 a.m. delivery on Mondays that I have to drop off every other Monday. And it's fine. It actually gets me up going for the week, you know, like once you get up and you pass the hump. But I sleep all night waking up because it's anxiety. Like,
Yes.
Oversleep, you know. You have to drop something off that's due that day.
Totally.
It's constantly like anxiety. And of course it's always the busiest morning, because all the kids are trying to get that 7 a.m. between 9 to before they start elementary school. So it's like they're cramming appointments, so there's no room for error. So, yes, I don't sleep good on those nights.
Yep.
I wake up like 7 p.m. just like, I gotta get up.
Yeah, I've made that exact same thing where I cannot sleep because I know I got a big day tomorrow. And the good thing about working at home is you just can get up and go in there and just start working.
Yeah, it's definitely a benefit.
I don't know if you make these. So what I've done on this wraparound is I've just gone down the teeth and touched all the teeth. Let me switch my camera here. And then I make, on the very last tooth, I make like a little ditch in, and then I'll adapt it around the tooth, kind of like a C clasp is what I do. I know some labs will just go straight around, but this is just something that I picked up from someone else.
A funny story I could tell you, Cade, is you know how we get the LMT with the lab pricing, like how much retainers cost?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's always funny when you look at that, because I actually have one that says like Holly. This was like 2006. It says the price of a Holly retainer, I don't know, it was like $45, and then the price of a wraparound wraparound was like 46. I was like, are you crazy?
Oh yeah, I remember that one. And I was like, why is the wraparound cheaper?
I realize how much work goes into a wraparound retainer. It's like twice as much work, and you have to be twice as talented. You know, you can't just like give that to someone who's bending Holly retainers. That's like a master technician, needs to be able to wrap and adapt and adjust and
oh yeah,
make it perfect. And here it's only like $1 more. I think it was less. I think it was like $42 for a wrap. I'm like, who's like, no one's checking this data.
No, well, I think what throws off the data is full service labs and dentures that do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They throw the numbers off. So this actually gives me the prices to charge general dentists, because some of those are really high. It's like $60-something one time for Holly. I was like, wow, I wish.
Well, a lot of them are subcontracting, and then they have to mark it up, which is
true.
You know, they're not doing that, and they can get away with it. But here's the catch, Cade. Do you work with a lot of general dentists?
Not many. Mainly referrals from orthodontists. You know, they're like, hey, make this retainer for this doctor down the road for me.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, what I was gonna say was, when you're making a retainer for a general dentist, it's usually a lot more work, because we're used to like perfect little setups because they're coming out of ortho.
Oh,
I mean, for the most part,
you're right. Yeah,
simple, because everything's perfectly in alignment where it should be. But when you get a general dentist who's got these periodontal disease, and they got these undercuts, and it's like the canine's going in the opposite direction, and you're just like, I got to bend a loop around this and try to get this wire to cross over without causing interruption of something on the upper, and you're just like, this is like a nightmare trying to bend.
Oh yeah.
And it has to be perfect to go in, because they're not used to adjusting it.
Right. Yeah.
There's no take it back in the lab and fix it like how an orthodontist will just grab something, they just know they'll make it happen.
Oh yeah.
General dentist will be like, how do you adjust this thing?
So if any of you kids out there are listening to this, go to an orthodontist. They are very good at what they do.
Yes, orthodontists are highly specialized. I think a lot of here's something the general public doesn't know. If people are watching this who are learning about orthodontics, is they're the cream of the crop of the dental students.
Yeah, they had to graduate first of their class, or first percentage of their class.
First and second, and
yeah,
it's definitely a high priority of a really good student who has to get through ortho.
Yeah. And then once they become an orthodontist, they cannot do general dentistry anymore. And so you got
Is that true?
Yeah, they can't do fillings or pull teeth or anything. They have to refer that out to general. Well, at least I guess in Texas. I don't know. Don't know if it's national, but they're not allowed to.
I've never heard.
Yeah.
I've personally never heard that before, but most people who get an orthodontics don't want to do.
Yeah, you don't want to mess
with.
The
reason why they got an orthodontics is not to do general dentistry.
Well, and
I could see
that's a good point. I was going to bring this up. Here's one from a general dentist that I got. We're missing teeth. This tooth is going to be extracted, and I got to put a ponic in there, so I got to pull that tooth out. And you get these major undercuts, and of course there's crowns on every other tooth, and I like working with ortho because it's usually a young mouth, healthy mouth, You don't get bloody impressions as much.
Except for, yeah, except for the kids that don't brush their teeth and they come and they go through ortho and they never brush their teeth for
Oh,
like 6
yeah.
months wearing braces. You see their gums. They take them off and they're just like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah. That when I was an ortho assistant, yeah, we've had that many times, and we had to take braces off early because they just were not taking care of them.
Oh, they start bleeding and everything. So that's the wearing braces when you're watching this video to make sure you brush. It's super important.
You know what I used to do? I used to take the scaler, right, and I would be taking off their little O-rings off of their front of their teeth, the brackets, and I'd scrape that plaque that built up around it, and I'd show it to them. I go, I just scrape this off of your tooth, and they're like, ugh, and I go, stay at your tongue. I gotta clean off my scaler. They're like, no, you don't. I was like, it's in your mouth. you obviously don't mind it. They're like, no. So I'll take their wires out, make them go brush, and usually that helps. Sometimes they would be a complete 180 turnaround. They'll come in with bad hygiene, but they'll leave with excellent hygiene. They become mouth aware, is what I call it.
Okay.
And they're like, oh,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, they become very aware of their mouth. Some of them just are not aware, and they don't know what's in their mouth. I know I can feel it when I get a film building up on my teeth. Hey, we got somebody
Eat an apple.
in the chat. Lath. I cannot read that. Lath. It says ODF. I don't know what that means. Lath is the name, or Faith. Obviously cannot read. That's why I've been to wire for a living.
Well, do they have anything to say, or they just...
They wrote ODF.
Okay. No clue.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's alright.
Yeah, I'm not in that generation. I can't read all those
Oh.
lingos. Oh, but what you were saying before about the wraparound is, you need more of an advanced... I've never really been confident with wraparounds and I've always been hesitant to record a wraparound. You never know how one's going to go. You can get hung up on one, and you not even know it. You bend it real fast, and then you spend the rest of your time just adjusting it. Because,
Kate, are you trying to tell me you're a little bit under pressure right now?
I'm a little under pressure, yes. So, I'm working. I go down the right side, and I don't know how you do it. I go down the right side, and then I'll go back around and bend the left side. And,
Kate, would you mind? Kate, slow down. Would you mind bringing a close-up of that so we can really see what you're doing?
No, I'm going to keep it blurry. Yeah, I'll bring it in.
Great.
Oh, wrong way. Oops. All right. Making sure I can... Yeah, the lighting, I'm trying different camera angles, and the lighting is on this one. I can't get it to fix. But again, I'm working my way around. Here, I'll show you the program so you can see it. So I work my way around the right side first. That's just what I do. Do my loop, adapt it to all the wire, go inside. I don't do my acrylic retention yet, but then I just go back around and start where I left off in the middle of the front of the teeth and work my way down the left side. But as I do it, I've got to constantly check and make sure I'm not throwing off the right side. And that, to me, that's what makes wraparounds challenging, is something you can bend on one side affects the other side.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what makes them a challenge. It makes them where they're so much cheaper than poly retainers. Right. So much heard of.
So I get to where.
answer your question, you said
Yeah.
before. Okay, the answer to the question, I've been in the exact same way. I start on the right.
And then work your way around
Mm-hmm.
to. Sometimes
One of the things I know when I'm bending or a wraparound retainer, or what's known in the business as a circumferential.
Yes, thank you for explaining that in case people didn't know. Yeah, the wraparound same thing as a circumferential holly, I guess is the.
Say that 10 times.
Yeah.
Circumferential. Um, one of the most important things, and this is a lesson, and I'm sure where you've screwed it up before, where you're just like, I can't believe I just did it, is where you try to be a little bit cheap on the wire, and you make it a little short. You're like, you get around, you do all this work, and you're on the other side, and you're coming up a little short.
Oh, I hate that.
It's better to waste wire when you're making a wraparound. That's like spent all this time getting that thing perfect, and then you come around the other side, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Short with the wire.
I use a brand new wire on each one just because I don't want to run into that. Oh, Greg Malone.
I highly recommend it.
Oh, he has his trainee Matee watching with me today. Myte? Or is it matey? Arr. That was a stupid pirate joke. So anyway, I keep checking it because sometimes one little bend the wrong way will throw off the rest of the whole thing. So I'm constantly moving. That's why I like model holders, so I can just move it around and look at it, different angles. Yeah, I kind of like bending with the cameras on. I can just kind of look up and see, oh, that's what that angle looks like. You know what was handy about YouTube videos, and Greg says he's got his technician watching, is one time we got asked for a cantilever wraparound. And I honestly really didn't have a clue what that was. But Jay Tyler posted a video on his Ortho Labs video channel on YouTube on that exact subject. And I was like, oh, sweet. So I watched it, and then I was just able to make it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was a cool design.
Yeah, I really liked it. I might have to.
It makes the wire really nice and stiff.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're looking
Yeah.
for, so it doesn't get.
And this comes with support wires, so that's going to help with the floppiness. And we can talk about support wires when I get to it. Their function and stuff. You could almost go support wireless. I guess you could say it that way, with a cantilever. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, I'll try to put a link in here later on, so you can come back to the video and I'll put a link to Jay's cantilever wraparound. See, he was supposed to join us today, but I'm going to tell on him. He went to play golf instead, so he's going to hate me for saying that, but
Busted.
yeah, we busted him. He's out playing golf in the beautiful Tennessee weather.
Okay? I'm just kidding.
What?
Just kidding. I'd be golfing too if it was 60 degrees.
What is it there in Detroit? Is it Detroit?
Oh, it's cold.
Oh, it's cold.
Yeah, we're outside. It's very cold.
Are you in a
It's supposed
basement?
to get really cold coming up in the next couple days. I'm in the suburbs of Detroit. Actually, Detroit. I just use that as a reference point.
Oh, okay. Well, because I could say Dallas, you know, but I'm an hour from Dallas, so.
Correct. I'm not. I'm like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, but if anyone ever comes to Michigan, the suburbs are beautiful, and Detroit's Detroit.
Oh,
Challenging.
Greg said that it's pronounced Mai Tay. Oh, I like that. Mai Tay.
Hey, speaking of wraparounds, you know what's really exciting? Is when you get one hung up on your lathe.
Oh, that's the worst. Oh yeah, that's bad.
You're like, all that work going around in circles. At
Yeah, just sitting there spinning.
RPM.
There's no use saving it.
You gotta be careful. Another reason why they should be twice as much.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of like
They're so weird.
I want to charge a little bit extra for lowers just because they're just that much more slightly risky. Because of the
a lower wraparound is that's adding another like. I always get this problem, Cade, when I'm bending retainers. When the model's smaller, people are expecting like, oh, that almost should be cheaper because it's, you know, that little tiny expand. It's so small. You know?
Yeah.
But everything that gets small in ortho gets hard.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, it's so much hard to bend wires. It's so much hard to finish. It's so much hard to get the pallet, you know, get the expander in the pallet. It's so much hard to. Everything's tight. Everything's uncomfortable. There's gaps. There's little things that get caught with pumice. Everything is hard. But you look at it and you're like, what's this a little tiny thing? You know, it should be cheaper. Charging so much. A little going back to the dentist, you get a real little model from a dentist, then you're really in trouble.
Oh yeah. It's usually the big large mouths that are just seem to be easier to bend and sprinkle and do designs on.
Polish. Yeah, everything's easier.
And usually the small, you know, in Texas we're required by law to put the patient's name in the retainer, the name insert. And it always seems like the smallest mouth has the longest name, or
of course,
a hyphenated name or something, and I can't get it in there, so I just got to do initials. Hey, Greg wants me to do.
Yeah.
Let's see. I know it seems like trivial, but could you do a dente C-clasp for a partial? I would like to see it, and my tay would also. I could do a C-clasp. I don't know what a dente is. D-E-N-D-E. What's that? Like I keep thinking al dente, like noodles. Greg, you'll have to explain what a dente C-clasp is. But I'll bend you a C-clasp today.
There's another term that most people don't know. It's called a Rottweiler Clasp. It's the same thing as a C-clasp.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering, if that's the same thing. That's what the denture.
General dentist called a Rottweiler.
Yeah, that's what the prosthodontist asked for. And have you seen the prices on those in the LMT? Some of them were like $15 a clasp. Like, man, I could make a killing with that.
We should just go in the Rottweiler Clasp business.
Yeah.
And bend those all day. But it is kind of funny watching a non-ortho tech try to bend that stuff.
Oh yeah, they may go
A
through
Rottweiler Clasp is
a mile of wire before they get one that they like, or that's usable. Okay, I'm gonna.
I have a bunch of general dentists that send me out, like they're not general dentists, but general or full functioning labs that send me like space maintainers and stuff like that. I'm like, why can't you guys just bend this yourself? And they're just like, have you ever seen our technicians try to bend this stuff? It's impossible. I'm like, yeah, you kind of forget out of habit, like when you've done it hundreds of times over and repetitious. When you're very repetitious about bending, you make it look so easy compared, when you remember what it was like when you started off. Everything was like the smallest little bend was very hard.
Oh, it's not dente. Greg says he goes, I hate spell checker. It's bend A. Could you bend a C clasp?
That makes more sense.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, there's a term I don't know.
Yeah. Now that makes sense, Greg. I guess if Greg's listening, does he make a lot of wraparounds in his lab? That'd be a question.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mine kind of come and go. Sometimes they go through phases. Like I get a lot of them, and then sometimes like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get tons of appliances, and then it switches up.
So those that have been in this industry for a while probably notice an uptick in some sort of appliance after the AAO meeting, because somebody's done a presentation on one. So then you start getting a whole bunch. I'll back this off just a bit. There we go. All right, keeper wires.
You ever make? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, what do I make?
Oh, do you make the clear bows?
No. Well, the lab I came from last year, they made at least once a month. It was a QCM or a clear bow. Man, I just switched to your camera right as you were blowing your nose. I'm sorry.
Oh, thanks, kid.
Yeah.
Did that?
I thought you were about to ask me a question. I switched to your camera, and you were over there blowing your nose.
Great. Anyway, you said about the clear bow. They do make them in Texas?
Yeah. Yeah. Some doctors call them QCM bow, and some call them a clear bow.
I want to know if people are watching this to leave a comment if they make them, because I'm just interested in what's their thoughts on them. They look pretty cool. I'm definitely interested in it, but I never have any requests for them.
Yeah, we switched to, I think it's called clear bow, and I want to say they're out of Canada, and they're way cheaper than QCM by Ormco.
Maybe we'll just have to invite him as a guest.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So my keeper wires, and Steve chimed in on this. So the keeper wires, because the acrylic is only, this is the only point where the wire goes into the acrylic on a wraparound. That means this whole bow will rotate up and down. So I call them keeper. There's support wires, stabilization wires, or stabs, as some people call them. I don't know what you call them, Steve, but they're just there.
Stabilizing wires.
Stabilizing. That's probably a more accurate term. So we hook this.
Crossovers. I've heard crossover wires.
Yeah, crossovers. And
holding wire.
Holding, yeah. See, there's tons of terms. I use this wire thickness of 024 is the wire thickness I use. I used to use 018, and I have a video, and I'll try to link it. It's a method I don't use anymore, and I used to actually rotate this thing, do a double helix, and then slide it up the back of the wire before I tacked it down, and then tacked it down, and then bent this. It was a really cool looking design because was double coil and it really hung on there. But I just started using this from the lab that I worked from before. Because what I do is I make a full circle, and then I just back it up just enough so that it hooks onto this wire, which in the what?
And then you just go ahead and crimp it? Is that what you're...
Yeah, so during QC, when I'm checking it, I'll crimp it closed again. So this will remain open the whole time, which helps during pumicing because I can unhook the wraparound bow from it and get it out of the way while I pumice.
Okay.
And so that's why I leave that little opening right there. Hopefully everybody can see that. Just enough to where I can hook it on the wire and unhook it.
The way I make them is exactly what you described the first time. I wrap the 018 and then wrap it along, and it's kind of a pain because it's a pain. That's right. You're doing it the other way.
Yeah. But
I saw Jay Tyler do that in his lab video.
The double helix wraparound?
Exactly what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, just...
Like he would just make a little tiny, open it up a touch, and then crimp it when he's finished.
Yes.
Which makes sense.
Another thing I like about it is if this wire breaks, either due to pumicing, trimming, or, a month later after the patient's worn it a while, it's a lot easier to fix because you can just cut it off and do it again and lay it into the acrylic. You don't have to strip all the acrylic off because with the double helix you got to slide it up the back end. You got to strip off the wire, slide it up the back end, back around. So it doesn't look near as cool as the double helix version, but it's to me it's a little bit more functional.
I was just going to say that it's definitely not as cool looking.
Yeah, it's not
functional. Yes.
Yeah, it definitely does not. Just a simple. And I think it helps that it's a 024, so it's a little thicker during the crossover.
Where do you see? I have different doctors. Well, I shouldn't say. Over the years, I've had different doctors request different placement for it. Like sometimes it could be on the buys, sometimes it could be in the laterals, sometimes it could be between two centrals.
Yeah.
I think it's personal preference, but then I've also heard people say like there's actually a standard position. I believe it's between the first buys and the molars, or the first molar and the first buy, which seems too far back because then it's gonna. But my thought was, I've just had people ask that question of what is the exact place it's supposed to be, and I always kind of say it's exactly where you want it, because if you want it stable in the front, I would put them more closer to the front. If you want it more stable in the back, another way to make it stable, what I like to do is some of these cases you'll have labial acrylic, and that really kind of makes it a little more harder to mess up, like when you're kids taking it in and out, just for a little more stability, because like you said, when a patient's taking one side out, pulling it down, wrap around, and then they twist it, and then they put it in their mouth, and it's like...
It's all crooked. Yeah.
And it's so hard to adjust. Like even when they bring it back to the orthodontist, it's like, oh, wow, what do we do with this? For that exact same thing that you were saying, you bend one side and it screws up the opposite. Like you bend the other side, and it screws, you're like fighting this thing.
Yeah,
The wraparound should be a lot more expensive.
That's what makes repairing a wraparound kind of hard too, because no telling what bend happened, or even the adjustment bends that the doctor, because it's pulling against the acrylic. The acrylic's the anchor, and so it does something different when you bend the wire when it has acrylic versus bend the wire without acrylic.
You made a really cool video that I watched, so I have to give you a compliment. I'm going to give you a compliment.
Oh, about time.
This is your first and only. Relax. You you made a video on how to adjust the labial bow. If anyone's watching this who doesn't know how to adjust the labial bow, I would leave that link down there. It's how you, you know, when sometimes the bow comes off the teeth. And you have
Yes.
a cool trick to flip the. It's a mind trick, because if you bend your 3-prong around opposite and bend outward, it actually brings the wire towards, you know, like the way you design. Tried it, and I'm just like, does that really, like, because typically I close up a holly by 3-pronging the loops, you know, the holly loops.
Yes.
And that'll tighten things up.
Yeah.
And, you know, 99% of the time I bent it correctly to first place where I wanted to touch every, you know, where you don't have issues. But when you get a retainer that's been worn for a long time, and it's been taken out of the mouth and it's tweaked and it's coming off the teeth, and you have to make that adjustment on a new model, you can't necessarily do the trick that I do, and you need what your video teaches you is how to bring that bow back in. You know, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where it's called
super cool.
QCing a retainer, I believe. Is what
It's one of the videos where I watched and I was just like, that's awesome.
Oh, good.
You're the man. It's like,
That's what's great about
realize that.
YouTube and the Facebook forum. You just pick up so much from other technicians that we never had before.
Yeah, I absolutely love it because everyone was. I don't think it was everyone was in our industry was afraid to talk. It was just more or less there was nowhere to talk.
You're right.
Like there was no listening.
Because everybody's working in the garages by themselves.
Your employee. So yeah, it's awesome when someone puts a question up and they get 35 answers within 10 minutes. It's like crazy. It's like
Oh, yeah.
everyone's like wants to share. It's so cool. Totally appreciate it.
Well, I've got this bent. Only took me 45 minutes. 30, I don't know. But I thought I'd take it a little slow. Looks like, oh, somebody said the last wire bender. Wow. And we got someone thanking us for being an educator. I'm trying to read Spanish. Saludos de educator, gracias por... Well, you're welcome. I think you're probably making fun of me, but hey, you're welcome.
Gracias.
Yeah, I saw gracias in there, so... Alright, let me do that C-class for Greg. Let me get another wire here. What did I do with that missing one? Ah, here we go. This is another wraparound, and not worry, I won't bore y'all with another thing, but so Greg wants to show how I do a C-clasp, which is actually probably one of the best things, first things to teach a new wire bender is, you know, how to do a C-clasp for a partial, or some doctors still like C-clasp on their hollies. So what I'm doing is that you can't see, let me pull this view up here, is I kind of clean out a little bit, make a nice landing along the gum line to try to get it to engage the undercut a little bit, and also to clear off an area for the wire to go. Steve, I don't know, do you prep for your C-clasp like this? Just kind of clean out the interproximal area?
I do exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
Exactly.
So to me that just kind of makes it easy to get a wire in there. So I'm going to use 036. To me that seems to be the base, for a partial I would use an 036 wire, size wire. I'm going to take my handpiece here, which is probably unplugged. Yep, let me plug it in. Ha! So I have a little cheap little handpiece right next to where I wire bend. And I have a rubber wheel, and you can kind of see my nice groove I have going for so I can round my wires. So then I'm doing this with the opposite hands. It's kind of throwing me off. So I just run that wire in there, round off the tip of it. I guess you could do it in QC also, but I feel like you would lose a little bit of length if you did that. So if you did it before you bend it, it'll stay the right length. So I just place the wire in there. Let me get a good overhead shot here. Of course, the shadows are crazy bad. Let's try this. So I'll put my wire in there, and I just mark it where it touches last, the tooth last. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that very well. Then I just get what I call my big bird beaks, or lab bird beaks. And I do a little bend like that. Curl it around. Bring up another view here so you can see. Yeah.
Not to cut you off, but on my other feed, it's like frozen. I'm just curious if anything's frozen on your feed.
Oh. Let's see.
Like, check this out.
Oh, where'd that freeze from?
I don't know. I'm just asking you if this, it says live, but it's just frozen.
Huh. Alright, let me see. I'm going to try to pull up the live video. Yeah, I might hear a little back feed. Oh yeah, there it is. I think we're... Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's going... If I wave my hand. It's definitely way delayed. Okay. Okay, I'm showing it's going, so it might be your end.
Okay. I just I'm going out of YouTube, and I just want to see what comes up if I go back in. It says 13 people are watching, but no comments. No comments.
Well, I got Greg has been talking. Yeah, he uses O362.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
Okay, now I see it's live. I can
Okay.
see you have 3 camera views, but one of them's moving. So okay, we're good now.
Okay.
It's not frozen.
So I lay that bent back in there, and I just mark it again where it's touching the tooth last. Put my pliers on the inside of that bend, where the mark is actually on the left side of my pliers here, if you can see that. And I do another little bend, and I place it back on there. At some point in the bending of this, you'll come across a flat point in your... That seems to be the best angle. Let me pull that up. You'll come across a flat point in your wire. See if I can get... There we go. And you can leave it flat. Depends on the tooth. Again, all this depends on tooth. And just keep putting it right back into that interproximal right there. Put a little bend, a mark, put it on your pliers, and just keep doing that over and over again. Around the back, usually, if you're going along the gum line, it usually goes up past the, I forgot what the anatomy is, a hamular notch? No, there's a term. Anyway, I'll put my pliers in there at this angle. What is it?
I haven't heard that word in a while.
I know. It's probably the wrong word. It's not hamular notch. It's that retromolar pad, but I think that's the lower.
The hamular notch.
And which I think is this, if I'm not mistaken, this little notch back here. Again, I haven't been tested on that in many, many years, so then I'm going to go back down. Oh, go ahead.
So we definitely speak a different language. Like, I'm not saying we speak the same language, but between denture technicians and partial technicians and crown and bridge, we all speak a different language.
Right. Oh, Camilla says hello again. She's learning, not talking. So we probably have a lot of other wire benders bending at the same time. They can't chat. They can't type in the chat. So now what I've come to is I'm hitting over here. And this is just something I do. You can either cut it now, or I like to put like a little uptick bend, which then this becomes, I can cut that. To me, this comes like a little handle. And so I just keep putting it back. Keep running it along the gum line. And then once you get to this area right here on, well, the back molar, I can stay off the tissue. I don't know, the standard I was told, half a millimeter off the tissue. But as long as you can see air or light underneath it, that's always been my goal. And then you can make any acrylic retention. Steve put out a video on acrylic retention. Actually, it was a Instagram where you collected a whole bunch of different ones of how to do the little acrylic tags, as some people call it. Or wait, what were you calling it? Anchor acrylic.
I think everyone's got a different name for it.
Yeah.
I think you call it anchor, don't you?
Yeah,
I
acrylic.
just call it retention rods, or like, whatever's going to bring retention to the acrylic. Like, I never really thought about what exactly the name would be.
Yeah. I'm sure in a book somewhere they got all different names. So I'll put my stamp of, and mate, I've always said the mark of a good wire bender is imitation. You should be able to imitate anybody's wire bending when you reach a certain point. So when you go to work at another lab, you should be able to very quickly figure out how they bend things and then be able to mimic it or adapt it. And to me, that's a valuable wire bender that is very hireable, if that's even a word. All right.
So did you work with employees that couldn't? Like, they would just struggle?
Yeah. It's one of those things where can't teaching old dog new tricks, or you know, those kind of things where somebody would come in and they are talking the game. They are the best wire bender. They can bend 20 lingual arches in an hour. All this, and alarms start going off in my head, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just sit you down and let you bend one, and it takes them an hour to bend one lingual arch, and I'm like, okay, your story was off a little bit there. You can't do 20 in an hour. Or, you know, if they do 20, the quality's so bad that I'm like, oh, you can't.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah, some that are unwilling to learn, that's hard to deal with too. Tuberosity. Hey, I think that might be the right word.
yeah, tuberosity.
Yeah, Greg said it's tuberosity. Oh, hello from Serbia. Do you have some experience with Frankel appliance? I do not. I probably need to. I've never been asked to do one from a doctor. But what I was saying before, you know, the mark of a good wirebender is, can you may have your own methods, but can you mimic your boss's methods, or do what he or she says, you know, even if you disagree with it. You know, I had to learn that, you know, eat humble pie many times and go, I do not agree with the way this is designed, but I'm going to do it because that's the way it goes. But Greg, there is the C clasp. Now, what I can do is move along, and the last thing I can show, because I think we're running up on, yeah, I got a few minutes before the turn of the hour. I'm going to do part of a soldered C wraparound. So you can actually start with a soldered C and move right into doing a soldered C wraparound. I'm going to tack this down real quick so it won't move on me. So this is just another alternative to the wraparound. Mark this wire. Do you get many of these, Steve? Wraparound soldered to C's?
I like, over the years, people changed, but I used to do them from soldered Adams clasp.
Oh, yeah.
You ever, you know, do soldered C's? I do a double C, like you have exactly what you have, and then you come around with another wire.
Yes, yeah.
Like your wraparound, so it's a double C.
Yeah, I've done those.
What else? I've done soldered ball clasps, which is, it's really strange.
Whoa, yeah.
I've had people want those to the labial bow, the wraparound, which is interesting. But it's all doctor preference, you know, like, and then they could change their mind, you know.
Now, one thing,
They see something, you know, like the video that you're making right now. I've never seen that before. You know, Jay's was a cantilever. You're not making a cantilever.
Yeah.
You're making
just a soldered
like
C.
like where you would. But Jay's wire came around the molar and went up this, like, it looks like you got two molars there, if I believe. You got second. So it would come around the second, go around the first, and like come up to the bi, and then it would be like a very stiff cantilever.
Yes. So then it would be like that, but then there would be this other wire coming around, and you'd solder there.
And it would all solder to it.
Yeah. So that would be soldered.
So it makes it very stiff.
Which you could almost do away.
Flimsiness.
Yes, and you could almost do away with the support wires.
True. Very true.
So this next part is a little different. I might do them a little different. I'm going to try to focus in. So as you come around, I don't go as deep into this area between the embrasure area. I do dip it in a little bit, but then when I get here, I'm gonna do a down bend and then just run it along this wire. Then this is where I would solder. So let me see if I can do that real quick. Like I said before, the pressure's on. So again, this is just one way of making a soldered C. And then, where those two wires touch, I would solder it. I don't know if that's a good shot or not. Yeah, so where those two wires touch, I'd put a ball of solder right here and solder that up. And so then that's the wraparound solder to the C's. And you had mentioned before Adam's clasp. So if I get an Adam's clasp, I'm not going to bend it, but just to let y'all see an idea. Let me pop this off real quick. So you would put an Adam's clasp, and I adapt the Adam's clasp first, and then I would just lay this wire right on top of that bar going across the Adam's clasp, and then that's what you would solder. You'd clip it here. This wire, you'd clip it short, and then you would solder that. So then it's wraparound solder to the Adams. And that would, to me, that'd be the easiest way to start a technician bending. If they've been bending hollies, and you have a wraparound to solder to Adams come in, you could have them start bending that. And so then they would take this loop right here, instead of going over the occlusion, they just go straight back and go straight to the Adams, and that would start teaching them, you know, whatever you do on this side affects this side, and that would help with moving them along to the next stage of training. All right, Greg, hooray, thank you. Good, I'm glad that helped. Hopefully that helped. I didn't mess up mate too much. So with that, I am going to end this so that we don't drag it on too much. But thank you, Steve, for joining us today, and let everybody know where they could find your videos and follow you.
Yeah, check me out on YouTube under Zara Dental Lab, S-Z-A-R-A Dental, and make sure you subscribe to Kate's channel, subscribe to my channel, see more stuff coming up. I'm going to have new videos coming out every Tuesday at noon, so something new and different. Keeping up, or you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook. So check it out, Kate. Have a good week. We'll talk soon, right?
Hey, and your music channel. You have a music channel too, if y'all didn't know.
Oh yeah, I got a music channel.
Yeah.
If any of you people are listening, like piano and guitar rock from the 80s, 90s, 2000, and today, I teach lessons on piano, and I need 50 more subscribers so I can keep my affiliate program through YouTube.
Yeah.
950, and I need 1,000.
Oh,
so
wow.
Check that out and subscribe. Yeah. And talk to you later.
All right. Well, thank you. And again,
we'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye. And I'll see y'all later. And until then, till next time, happy wire bending. And we will stop.